Greetings, salutations. The happiest nerd day of the year, kind of.
It is
Kind of.
the end of Marvel San Diego Comic Con. They finished their Hall H announcement, and we had to do a live show for it. And to make this a special occasion, we have a special guest here as well. A very funny man, a very funny comedian. You may have heard of him. Give it up for Dave Kenny, audience. Dave, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, great to be here.
Hear you're,
that is the enthusiasm I was looking for.
we hear you're a bigger nerd than Eric. So, you're a bigger nerd than Eric, I heard. That's impressive. That's true.
It's very true. Yeah.
It's very true.
Well,
Fair.
It is with Nerd Christmas. We have D23 coming up, but there's
Sure.
supposed to be some big stuff. Jose's gathered all the information for us to kind of react to for the first time. Me and Dave have kept off the interwebs. We have no idea what's going on, so this will be all fresh to us for the first time taking it in. Now, before we jump in, since we did our last show was the non-spoiler review of Deadpool Wolverine, this day we are going to give our spoiler review. Now, if you pay attention to the show, you've pretty much already seen Deadpool Wolverine. By now, you're going to go watch it. If you haven't seen it yet, turn it off, watch it tomorrow, be fine. But because we all have the internet, so much stuff is just spoiled out, we're not going to give a play-by-play about everything. I figure we'll just give, each one of us can give our top 3 moments that we enjoyed most. Maybe if you have a special take on it, you can. But I figure, Jose, since you saw it first, you saw it on Thursday, why don't you kick it off with your 3 favorite scenes of the movie?
Blade, and then Blade. That was the highlight. All 3.
Listen,
Come on now.
hearing Blade say some motherfuckers still want to skate uphill, I mean, that was a pretty sweet moment. Not gonna lie.
And the reason why I like it is that's the only Blade we're ever going to get, apparently, in the MCU. So you got to take it. You got to take it. This is all we're going to get. That's it. This is the big announcement 5 years ago. Bullshit.
I
No.
mean, Wesley Snipes has been talking shit online, and he's
Yeah.
going to talk shit in the movie. I mean, he's doubled down. Like, this is... If you want Blade with a white soul patch, Wesley Snipes is your dude.
No, Blade was great. Channing Tatum was awesome seeing him. Big surprise as well. The movie's great. I mean,
his
Cajun is oh my god.
It's like,
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was, and it's so funny because it's a deep cut because not everybody knows that whole story with him and the potential film that was gonna get made and never did, so it never came to fruition. But that was great. Like I said before, the movie was awesome. It's great. It really is. It's so much fun. And like I said, I'm glad it was a Deadpool, not an MCU film, ultimately.
Fair. Dave, how about you, man?
My biggest, and Eric already prefaced it with a spoiler. By the way, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie, you're playing a dangerous game. I mean, we've told you it's gonna be spoilers, but like, what are you gonna rely on our trust that we're not? All right, so yeah, my big moment is a spoiler. Chris Evans, and it's a 2-part. And I actually am going to count 2 moments from that, because there was the moment he showed up where there was a huge applause from the theater, but there was an even bigger applause when he said his famous catchphrase, "Flame on." The moment everyone realized that he was not Captain America Chris Evans, he was in fact Human Torch Chris Evans. It's just such a great joke. And then all of the stuff from there of him being in a Marvel movie, not as Captain America, but it's. And again, I saw those movies when they came out. They were movies.
Whatever.
I mean, mainly it was just like peak hotness Jessica Alba and
True.
Otherwise pretty unwatchable movies. But no, Chris Evans was great for that. I think other moment. Honestly, I think one of the things that I think surprised me was the how much emotional story they tried to tie into Wolverine's character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll get into it later. It wasn't what I would call an overly plot-heavy movie on the whole, but for a movie that's a pretty light comedy romp, they really did try to put as much kind of emotional. I mean, it was really basically the only seriously emotional part of the movie. But yeah, I think that part really impressed me.
Well, I will say, Wolverine putting the mask on. Yeah, that.
Oh, I knew. I was thinking of you the minute that happened. I was like, oh, Eric's gonna.
Yeah, you're right.
You're gonna blow a load. I knew it.
That you thought Eric's gonna cream his pants. And you're right. Pants were cream.
I knew it.
All over the place. I literally held on to the person next to me. They were a stranger. I was like, Colby, this is really a lot for me. I can't handle it right now. I was so excited about that. The whole fight sequence, that one shot that they did. Who needs hallways when you have a bus? So I think it worked out pretty great to see that whole panel go through. I really liked it. You're right. Channing Tatum, deep cut. I got super excited about that. And shout out to Chris Evans, Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm with a Boston accent to really hammer in the I don't give a fuck about this lady. Like, it's incredible. Like, we're talking about Bill Burr's Star Wars. I need more Boston accents in Marvel. Really, just hammer in. Like, if you need someone to just tell someone else to go fuck themselves in a non-silly kind of way, because, you know, rhinos are silly. But if you want to be a real, like, I really hope you die today, you need Boston accent. So I was happy we got to do that with the Fantastic Four and Chris Evans be there. It was great. But those are my three, especially the end credit, Chris Evans' rant. Just perfect. Just all about that. I was very excited about it. So that is our three favorite takes. Of course, everyone's saying all the great things. Go watch the movie, see it for yourself. But being that it's Marvel, being that it's Hall H, being at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend, Jose has acquired a raft of announcements that we have no idea what's happening. And we're going to talk about it now. We're going to react to it live. Jose,
yeah, let's do this, man. Let's do it. Because Marvel had Comic-Con all to themselves, right? No DC, no big boys came to play. Except, I don't know if you guys saw this. This was mind-blowing that they, in this era, before it jumped on, I didn't say anything, so I wanted to surprise you. They dropped the Superman first trailer. James Gunn.
Oh, I haven't seen it
Yeah,
yet.
no, I'm just kidding. Nah, psych. No, just kidding. Of course not, dude. Come on. That was the first thing we talked about. That was the case, man. Come on.
When they revealed the DC Studios bullet, so I thought, oh wow.
Nah, man. DC wasn't there, so.
I want that movie to be good so badly. Because I said that it's based on All-Star Superman, which obviously is amazing, which I love. But it's just everything that comes out from it. Like, it really. I mean, and granted, these are just. There's been a ton of times where early shots come out that aren't that impressive, and the movie turns out to be awesome. But it just, like that one where he's like slowly putting his boots on, it's like the city gets destroyed.
Oh, Dave, I called that quiet quitting Superman.
Take your time,
That's
dude.
really what it comes down to.
If you're gonna save the world, make sure you do it in your special outfit.
It's in super speed.
That's
like
true.
Don't forget your boots.
That's a fair point, man. Listen,
You want to come out and slide?
What a shame. I really wish we would have gotten some DC stuff. But look, it was all Marvel all the time. There was no real big. The whole weekend, we didn't get a whole lot in terms of anything for the most part, right? Lord of the Rings trailer, who cares? Whatever. Not a big deal. I think they announced Soldier Boy prequel for the boys. Okay.
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of cool. All right. But it's not like eye-popping. But so it's all about Marvel. So I want to break down what they did. I mean, it wasn't a lot, to be honest with you. It was kind of disappointing until the very end.
Oh, all right.
They kind of had a mic drop, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. And Eric, well, I won't say anything. I won't spoil it. But so the first thing that happened, right? They came out. Well, they did like a little Deadpool thing. They came out with the choir doing like like a prayer.
Like a prayer.
They were doing dressed in yellow and red.
Yeah,
whatever. Promoting. I get it. It's just a hit. No big deal. Whatever. They moved right. It was only an hour long, so it wasn't a long event. They went right into Captain America 4. They talk a lot of little things of it. I think they have some of the cast out there. They mentioned things like...
Was Harrison Ford there looking disinterested?
He was there. I don't know if he was interested or not. I haven't got confirmation on that. But he was there. He did come out.
I'm gonna guess.
He did come out. He like... Red Hulk.
Me as a big Comic-Con guy.
Yeah, he's getting paid. He don't care. All right, for whatever.
Oh, great. It's the place where everyone knows me from my famous roles.
He's just looking for his check and go home.
You know anything about Harrison Ford? He has to be bothered by fans.
But so they based a couple of small things on. They showed some footage, nothing new. Except they did show some Red Hulk stuff. And apparently, there's a footage of Harrison Ford. I guess he's having a speech in the White House, or he's in the White House, whatever, and he turns into the Red Hulk.
Okay,
so
that's cool.
Whatever. I mean, we knew he was in it, so it's not a huge deal. Sam, Sam confirmed he will not take the super soldier serum. Okay. Whatever.
Good.
Speculation. We know it.
It's all natural.
All natural, baby. That's how you do it. No artificial shit. Mr. Blue is indeed the leader. No big surprise.
Yeah.
Talking about him being grounded. Yada yada yada. This is the big one though. Giancarlo Esposito was there, and he finally confirms his character as King of the Serpent Society. Sidewinder. Yeah.
All that GW Bridge nonsense.
All that nonsense. Well, you and I talked about it where he was saying that no one has guessed it yet, apparently, right? Whatever that truth in it. Apparently not. I don't think anybody had this coming. I'm not familiar with the King of the Serpent, so who is this guy?
Serpent Society is like, imagine Cobra from G.I. Joe mixed with the Legion of Doom. It's a small group of supervillains who have their own club because they're all snake themed. That's what the Serpent Society is.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, it's as goofy as it sounds.
I want to say that.
For the world, do you also enjoy snakes? Or do we have a society for you?
I'm based up a gecko. Get that dude out of here. We said snakes only. No other reptiles.
Kind of enjoy turtles? Get the fuck out. We are very specific.
That's funny.
So that's kind of cool to see him. I was kind of hoping he would be the actual Splag Smasher because I saw him with a cape. I thought that'd be cool. I'm glad it's not G.W. Bridge because, Dave, back me up with this. If a character's famous for having a stark white goatee and the movie version has no stark goatee, doesn't that take away from what the character is, like a signature look?
Yeah, come on. What are we doing here?
Exactly. So I'm glad it's not doing. Yeah. And he's named after a bridge, G.W. Bridge, George Washington Bridge.
Right.
That's the name. That's the kind of cleverness you expect from a Rob Liefeld character. That's the exception to the rule. Even though he is.
Honestly, that's what happens like when you work at Marvel and you're like, you've already created 9,000 characters, and they're like, what do we name this guy? And they're like, Lincoln Tunnel.
Is it? Well, he
95 overpass.
He mentioned a small role in this, and he's going to be featured on a show or something, right? When they first came out and announced it.
So featured in a show too.
Right. So
maybe
curious. He's part of Daredevil, like
maybe
lore.
It's a show. I'm trying to think. There's no Serpent Society show. That's not happening.
No. He'll be like a villain or something in whatever they're coming up, whatever they're cooking up somewhere. We know that, I guess, unless they change their mind. But so that was a surprise.
A straight Shield show. If they do like a new Shield series on Disney Plus, then you could have that.
You're killing me with that.
Maybe not a Hydra level threat, but definitely a 2-episode threat. You could do Serpent Society.
It's getting to a point where, like, if you want to make any superhero or sci-fi show and you need a villain, like, he has to be part of it.
Oh, dude, yeah. He's everywhere.
like, legally, like, you can't. It's like you're pitching your show and, like, the studio's like, so what is Giancarlo Esposito going to play in your show? And they're like, we actually didn't. Yeah, he's part of it.
He's like, he has, like, right of first refusal in all these movies.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, all right, now go ahead, pass it on to somebody else.
Giancarlo Esposito is Skeletor.
Actually, that would be cool.
Esposito is the bad guy in the new Muppet movie. Follow me in this one here. I think it could work out.
That would be good too, though. He's good at, you put him in anything. It don't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what he's in, dude.
I'm not ragging on it. He's been great in everything he's been.
Of course, yeah. Put him whatever. Okay, fine.
Keep coming.
No. I mean, listen. Don't hate. Even in Mandalorian, he was good in it. You may have not liked the context of the story.
I said he's good in everything, which that includes Mandalorian. Yeah, he was great at Mandalorian. Yeah, I know, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
He's always good. I'm saying if you're gonna hire him, okay, fine, no problem. Status quo sounds good to me, dude. That's fine.
Great.
They did confirm adamantium was mentioned or might be part of this, which I think we had speculated before.
Deadpool leaned in a little heavy with the adamantium.
Well, they did. I mean, Wolverine obviously does.
Wolverine's skeleton in the beginning, his swords, his katanas were adamantium. Well, there's a lot of adamantium in Deadpool, so they're setting the stage.
They're setting the stage. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything close to the Wolverine. None of that stuff. I don't think we're getting that. Like, and the new Wolverine or whatever. I think it's a power play for the resource. Almost like what's that? The one from Wakanda, the other Vibranium. There you go. No, Vibranium. Yeah, that's like the other.
Vibranium.
Yeah. So that was capped. So that was like the first 25 minutes. Second 25 minutes was Thunderbolts. They brought out the cast. Only David Harbour came out in costume, and he was questioning why no one else did. So it's kind of funny. They showed some footage. They said that Florence Pugh is going to be probably the headliner in terms of screen time, I guess. So, okay.
Well, is it the guy who plays Bucky in it too?
Yeah, he's in. Yeah, him and David Harbour.
But he's not the headliner. It's going to be Florence Pugh.
From what I heard, it's going to be her. That's what they said. So, the main focus of the story, what it is worth. They mentioned, I guess they're all going to be contracted separately for all to do the same job, unbeknownst that they're doing the same job, something along those lines. So they're going to cross paths or something.
Just on that, it kind of sounds like the premise of that new George Clooney Brad Pitt movie, Wolves, where they're both cleanup guys.
Oh,
separate people. They took that premise. He goes, with superheroes, and just ate them.
It also, I mean, it also kind of sounds like they're trying to distance themselves from what like Suicide Squad was.
Sure.
Because in comics, they're not that different. It's like the exact same. Like we need a bunch of bad guys to do. Like it. But yeah, I don't know. Having not seen any of the footage, I feel like kind of similar to Suicide Squad. I feel like that's something where like the execution is really well. Because just in Suicide Squad, there's been 2 movies. One is like unwatchably terrible, and the other one was like pretty good. And it's a good idea of like what a difference execution can make for.
And the unwatchable one is an Oscar-winning film. Just want to point that out.
Yeah.
So go figure.
The worst one is the Oscar-winning film, which is
right. That's what I'm saying. The worst one was the Oscar. Go figure. I mean, like I said, there's nothing there that really got me excited for this film. I mean, whatever. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's there. They then moved on to Fantastic Four. They gave the logo. Some of the cast showed up. They start filming next week, so there's nothing really to show. A lot of concept art with the vehicle and the kind of the city how it looks in the 1960s and that kind of vibe. Talking about the whole family thing, blah blah blah. I heard they showed, I was concept art, not a scene because I haven't filmed anything, unless it's CGI, but showed Galactus like behind the building or something popping out, or you see his face. I don't know, something along those lines. Hey guys, he's creeping. He's creeping. The kid's park now. So whatever. So that's, for the most part, that was it for Fantastic Four.
I was kind of hoping they would do a costume reveal. That was what I was kind of hoping for.
Yeah, nothing like that. They just came on.
Fantastic Four for me. I mean, of the stuff that they have coming out, I think that is the one. I think it's the one I'm most excited about, just because it's a movie that they've done so many times.
Sure.
I mean, all the way back to like Roger Corman.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, there's been so many movie versions of them, and none of them. I mean, people can differ, but I don't think there's a single one that anyone would universally agree is good.
No.
And I think that it's tough when you do a movie that bad. I think it's something too where it's like if they do it really well and they've got a great cast, it seems like a lot of talented people involved. I think it could really surprise people, because I think there's a lot of people who'd be surprised to know that these are actually really good characters that you can tell really good stories with. I mean, I think that's it. It's been such a successful comic book series and cartoons and stuff like that for so long. If they really can nail it, I think that could be really huge.
Yeah, out of the 3.
Here's the thing about.
Go ahead.
I was saying, the thing about Fantastic Four as a comic book, it's like chicken noodle soup. It's never going to be something that's going to knock your socks off, but it's always going to be reliable and good whenever you get it. That's how it is they are in the comics, Every once in a while, you have a fantastic or chicken noodle soup, like, this is great, and you want to tell everyone about it. But most of the time, it's just good chicken soup. It's like, okay, it's a fun adventure, especially the run right now with Ryan North. I think is a guy. I know North is his last name. I don't remember his first name. I think it's Ryan. But he's really pulling the fun not cosmic, but fun science of it. The big ideas, but told in a small scale. It's really, really fun. So if you're looking for something that the kind of comic where you can read with your kids, because it's weird, and it's big adventure, but it's more adventure than like crime fighting. Fantastic Four has always been where it's at. And if they could, I always want that to be the appeal of the movie, or at least the idea that the bigger movie comes out of is like we're adventurers, we're discovering something, and then everything gets bananas and we have to fix it. But the idea should always be moving forward, thinking bigger. That should be the basic idea of it. And if they could do that, like Dave said, then that's the kind of movie where they excited about.
Family. I mean, I think that it's. Like, I think that the comic, and I think part of why it's stuck around for so long, and again, I mean, I don't have a ton of super deep thoughts on Fantastic Four in general, but I think that concept of a family, and I feel like all the movies that they've done so far, it feels like, here's this collection of people, 2 of whom are related. Like, it doesn't really, but I think that's why the comic has been able to stick around so long, is that kind of family, functional and dysfunctional, that dynamic that makes it work.
I mean, it's relatable.
It's like, they'd done Spider-Man the same way for so long, and then all of a sudden, when they got the kid who's in now as it, the first time you saw him in Civil War as an actual teenager with that accent, you're like, oh, he should be this. He should have always been this. And it was just, not that Tobey Maguire did a bad job, but it was, I kind of feel that of like, there's this, it's like, you know who this character is, and then when you see it done right, it's like this light bulb goes off. I'm really hoping that we see something like that with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, out of the 3.
And I want to see a cool thing too.
The what?
I want to the Thing. I don't think they've really nailed the Thing in films.
No.
Man, I really want to see a Thing that looks like the comic book.
That's that big thing.
It was like totally like a Who's on First. You're like, I want to see a cool thing. I'm like, Eric, you're gonna have to be more specific.
I know, right? What thing you're talking about? The Thing. I mean, out of the 3 films, because these are 3. I mean, I wish they would announce other stuff. This is really the basic what they ran over, right? Except for one thing I'll mention now, which is the big mic drop. But Fantastic Four is the things I'm most excited about. Everything else, I don't care. Captain Four, whatever. I mean, Fantastic Four. That's the only one the movie they got to get right. I think.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, if they miss that.
Fantastic Four is the first movie they're doing post the Chopek era of Marvel. That kind of led to the quality reduction and the mass content creation. This is the first one where they kind of like, let's tighten our belt, let's focus more, let's do something. Even Captain America and Thunderbolts, Captain America's technically 2 movies because they have to reshoot everything. So it's not going to be a clear cut example of what Marvel's going to be doing. Really, it comes down to Fantastic Four. So based on Fantastic Four is where you can tell a lot of people saying, oh, Deadpool's saving the Marvel Universe. Fantastic Four is going to let you know where the Marvel Universe really is.
Correct.
And, so that's going to be the proof of concept going forward.
Right, agreed. So that said, this is the big news, which not surprising, but you and I talked about it. Russo brothers, of course, came out on stage, announced as the directors for Avengers 4, 5, or 6, whatever number they're in. The next 2 Avengers.
Well, 5 and 6 or just 6?
Both of them. 5 and 6. Which is good news. And you date around, you miss your old girlfriend, you go back. Yeah, that's just how it is. All right. You were the one. I knew it. I miss you, baby. I'm sorry. Okay. You make up, and here you go. It is what it is.
Please. Whoever's watching this, make us a Photoshop. By his head. Holding me out from the boombox.
So that was the big thing, which we're not surprised, but we knew they would announce that last. But it gets even more interesting than that. So they announced the name of the first film. So officially, we know it's not Kang anymore. That was no big surprise. It's gonna be Secret Wars, off the gate.
Oh, they're going right to Secret Wars.
Right to Secret Wars. So that's interesting.
Are there these Secret Wars 1 and 2?
No.
Is that what they're doing? Not
according to this title, which I mentioned, which this is gonna blow your mind. Yeah. So yeah, it's just Secret Wars. There's no one. It's just Secret Wars. No part 1, part 2. No.
All right.
The second one, I'll mention in a second, might be related to it, but it's not based on the title. I don't know. Maybe you guys will know more about that with Secret Wars. But so Secret Wars. So that's. And you and I talked about it, Eric. Is there enough time? I don't know when this is coming out, unless they move this out to like 2028 or whatever. I mean, is there time to build up Secret Wars? Like, if it's 2026, it seems a little soon.
It's
right.
Listen, once again, going back to Deadpool Wolverine, as Deadpool clearly said, this multi-universe thing isn't really working out.
Oh, I love that, by the way. That was great. That was a great one.
Kind of beating the concept to the ground a little bit.
Yeah, and
so, I mean, you can. I mean, think of it this way: Loki season 2 did a lot of the legwork about the multiverse, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Now, mind you, is it going to be now homework to watch the Loki series? Yes and no, but also if you watch the Loki series, you get way more out of Deadpool Wolverine. So it
sure.
all depends.
The homework thing though, I don't know. I feel like I almost even question some of that. Like when I saw like the Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse movies, they introduced Miles Morales, introduced an entire multiverse, like all this stuff into a movie that's primarily aimed at kids, and like. I saw it with an audience, and everyone was able to keep up. Also,
true.
I mean, there's been like Everything Everywhere all at Once was Best Picture. I think we're all familiar enough with the multiverse. Like, I'm pretty sure you can just kind of quickly exposition through the beat.
I hope so, but I told I've told Eric before. It's like everyone gets it right except MCU. Every other studio gets it right. The MCU they can't. They can't. But that wasn't a true multiverse. All they have
to do is achieve like Rick and Morty level, and they've got it.
Yeah, so it's odd. So whatever. So that's interesting. Now, this is gonna be the title of the second one. A little drum roll, and it's in green. The picture of that. Let me see if I can show you guys. Let me just see if you can see this. Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Let's see if you can. Can you see that at all?
No. Move the camera to the right.
Oops.
Right.
Oops.
There. Is it now?
No.
What?
It's probably not. It's probably not. Yeah, I tried.
It looks like Doomsday.
Doomsday. Yes.
Really?
Yep. So very
they're
interesting.
bringing a DC character into it. Wow.
The crossover we all been waiting for.
Fresh up killing Superman. He's got unfinished business.
So that was interesting and surprising. And on top of that, we talked about it, Eric. You know who came out, announced he's Doom. He's Dr. Doom.
So Doomsday is Dr. Doom, then?
Right.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Right. It is.
Did they announce who's gonna be Dr. Doom?
Who? Yeah, no, he came out.
Did they announce who's gonna be
He
Dr.
came
Doom?
out, and you know who I'm referring to because we just talked about this.
No.
Yeah, say it. You can say it. Say it. Say his name. You know who it is. You know we just talked about it last week. The rumor.
A lot of stuff's happened within a week, guys.
Jeff Snyder rumor. He talked about this character who is currently in the MCU, or was in the MCU.
Robert Downey Jr.
Correct.
As Doom?
Yes.
No.
Which we didn't like. I didn't like that idea.
I don't like it.
I don't.
Like it.
I don't.
He should be Iron Man.
So, what do you think? This is the first thing you hear about
this. It kind
this.
of feels like he signed for this contract just so he's playing a character he doesn't have to actually be on set for.
Maybe you're right. I mean,
because he's gonna be in a mask. Like as soon as the accident happens, he's gonna be in a mask from then on. So it's like.
Well, Dave, let me share this nugget because this was part of the rumor that Eric and I spoke about, and we didn't like it. But he's not gonna be Dr. Von Doom, whatever his name is.
Dr. Von Doom.
Yeah, he's gonna be another multiverse Iron Man, Tony Stark, who is Doom or changes in Doom or whatever is whatever.
Okay.
That was the rumor. They didn't say that here, so I don't know what direction they're going with. But that was the rumor, which obviously came true in terms of the Robert Downey Jr. part. So maybe he is a elsewhere version of Tony Stark who just becomes Doom, which I even hate more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't even like that. I hate that more, to be honest with you.
Victor Von Doom was Iron Man in the infamous Iron Man. Victor Von Doom became Iron Man, so it was like a Doom-esque Iron Man suit. So there is a reference point to it. But I don't like Tony Stark being Dr. Doom.
I don't. I gotta be honest. Listen, it could be great. It could be great, but I don't like it. I don't know. It just seemed like it was like they just wanted to do a mic drop and bring him out and just for no reason. Oh, Robert Downey Jr. Hey, come here. Hey, don't do. And then get a bit excited for no reason.
Fans are like, we know him.
Oh, he's great. Which he is great. He is great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like him as Doom, dude. I don't.
I think what bugs me is like we just talked about how all the previous Fantastic Four movies have been kind of shitty. So the only version of Doom people have seen previously have not been great for the most part.
Sure.
I think that what kind of bugs me is, I mean, it kind of feels like the first version of Doom that people are going to see is going to be like the Robert Downey Jr. alternate. Like I think I think that whole like alternate version works better when you already have an established version of the original character.
Sure.
Right.
Agree.
As opposed to this where like people have never even seen the character done right. Like that part kind of bugs me.
It's
on the most basic level, it's like good guy in metal outfit, bad guy in metal outfit.
Yeah, it reeks
like
of...
I get from a distance why people made the connection, but I don't love it.
It reeks of desperation as far as I'm concerned. They wanted a big splash, and why not? He's coming back to the MCU. That's the headline, right? Robert Downey Jr. comes back to the MCU, right? And you get the clicks and all that, and great. You know.
I'm gonna put this out. There's been a recent joke in comic book stores everywhere that if you want to know what's going to happen in Marvel 2 years from now, read what's happening in Marvel now, and you'll kind of get an idea. Jason Aaron, time for Nerdslpaining, and Dave backed me up on this. Jason Aaron just finished his run on the Avengers. His big conceit was there was going to be a multiversal war between all the Avengers versus an army of Dr. Dooms, and so there was the Sorcerer Supreme Doom or the Ultra Supreme Doom and every other variation of Doom afterwards. The only way this works is you have a Tony Stark Dr. Doom, you have an army of Dr. Dooms behind him, and by defeating, when they finally do defeat him, there is, in the course of introducing this Tony Stark Dr. Doom, you also introduce the core Dr. Doom as well. So when the universe gets rejiggered into one sacred timeline again, now you have the Doom that you met in the movie now part of the new MCU. That's the only way this works. But you are skating the razor line.
Oh man,
this can go bad.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see a Tony Stark version of Dr. Doom. I really don't.
Yeah,
It doesn't work, man. Doctor Doom is like one of the best villains. Am I wrong here? Right? It's menacing.
Yeah.
I just,
No,
I
totally agree.
if he's there, Joe drink. I don't want to see that. It could be a disaster. It really could. So I'll ask you, when is he introduced here? Because I mean, you can't just introduce him in the film. Yeah, it's got to be. You got to build him up.
That's the only way it works.
Yeah.
Not even before then.
There's no. I mean, maybe Fantastic Four, maybe, especially because they're shooting out, and if Robert Downey Jr. is there, he might go to set with the cast of Fantastic Four to film his small cameo.
It'll be small. And
then take it from there.
I mean, it depends.
That's the only way.
I guess it's I don't know. It's odd.
Well, I wonder. I mean, a lot of it is just stuff that I don't know about what they're doing with the Fantastic Four stuff.
Sure.
I mean, I feel like I would imagine that they would have like their own like universe Doctor Doom. So then they meet this alternate Doctor Doom. I don't know what they already have lined up. Pretty much every Fantastic Four story you tell, normally like episode 1, you at least meet the character that's going to be Doctor Doom later.
Sure.
Like it's a critical enough character that it's not like there's times where there's villains you're like, we'll wait for season 5. Fantastic Four, like normally you're going to meet Doctor Doom pretty early.
Sure. I mean, it makes sense, but I mean that's an Elseworld film, takes place in the 6 different times. So I don't know. I mean, though he can. I assume the Fantastic Four are going to be brought into our world with the main timeline or whatever.
That's
I guess
the
right.
seed of it,
Right. So
like that kind of
he can get trapped in that and get brought in as well. I guess with the rest of the crew, whatever. Right. So that was a surprising news. Like I said,
That is surprising.
It is. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not like I wasn't wild by this whole thing presentation to begin with, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like last time they were at Hall H, they really brought the heat in terms of like all these really big announcements. And then D23 was just sort of like a reconfirming with like maybe one new extra tidbit. Now, because of that, you're thinking if you're using San Diego to be your reconfirmation with your one big announcement, is there going to be something bigger coming along in D23? You're flipping the share of the wealth in a sense where like if last time you did it, D23 was your support show, are you treating San Diego as your support show and D23 is going to be the big reveals?
I got a feeling, yeah, because I think D23 is September, right? Around usually, I don't know.
August, I think.
August, whatever. It's coming up, but I won't be surprised if then we get the announcement of when these movies are going to drop, because that's going to really tell what's going on. If I guess it's 2026, that's weird. If it's 2028, okay. Build up to I want a nice build up to these event films. You can't just toss them in there, right?
On that thing of building up, I mean, it's something that bothers me about Robert Downey Jr. and I think it's the biggest problem they've had since Endgame is they had the original Avengers. Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, who no one had heard of at the time. And again, Chris Evans, he had been in other movies. He wasn't a giant star before. And again, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that Captain America was ever going to work as a solo movie. But, I mean, they put all the work in, built all these characters up to the point that we cared about them. But now, all the characters have either been killed off or left. So it's like there's this new generation. So it's like if they're going to survive, survive, like they're struggling so much. But, I mean, if they're going to kind of thrive and like stay at the top of things, they have to get us to care. Like we have to be as invested in the new Captain America, the Thunderbolts, all the whole new generation. And I think that's one of the things that bugs me a little bit about bringing Robert Downey Jr. back. And again, I mean, to your point, I'm speaking way too soon. They're rolling out all this stuff. I think that my hope is that they can build up these people more, because if you still have to keep relying on going back to the well of bringing Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans or apart from how outrageously expensive that is, I feel like you're also it's not solving the real problem, which is the real problem is you have to replace them with a team that people are invested in and care about as much as they did as the originals. Yeah,
and I brought that with Eric before. We talked about that. We don't know who the Avengers are right at this point. And it's kind of late in the game. If they're doing this in 2 years, like, we got 3 movies next year, and Cap is fine, but he's not.
Now,
he's not a superhero anymore, right?
Because if anyone can make insanity work, it's the Russo brothers. I mean, if you look at it objectively, Infinity War and Endgame should not have worked. As big as it was, with everything they were putting together, that movie should have collapsed in the weight of its own hubris. And yet, it not only works, but it is emotional and resonant and made
what helped that was the setup was there, right? That
Right.
they had built
Yeah.
up to it. So and they would you get the payoff, but they built up to that, the characters, the team,
Yeah.
and now they just here's the conclusion, right? The third act.
Well, there's moments like in wrestling, they always talk about like getting people over.
Yes.
And I think, and you do that with like really big spots. Like Black Panther shows up in Civil War, he immediately fights Captain America and like kind of kicks his ass. And it's like that thing where it's not just a character in the movie. You're like, oh, this dude is like a really high-powered level character. So it's like if you want like us to feel that way about the new Captain America or whoever else that you want to fill out the Avengers with, you have to put them in spots like that to kind of show. And that's the thing. It's like, I mean, they've been in these movies, but a lot of their biggest moments are happening on Disney Plus shows that some people watch and some people don't.
Yeah.
Like the general public and stuff, getting that I think that's what they have to build to. It's both with storytelling, but also it's just that's how you get people over is kind of showing them impressive stuff that makes you care about them.
Yeah, so let's see. I mean, curious. It's a curious choice, and we'll get more information down the road. But that being said, Eric, we're running out of time. We're running out of time on this. I'm gonna make sure enough time to sign off. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we'll set up.
Yeah.
Guys, there's so much to load. We will talk about this next week. I promise you. Once again, thank you for our special guest, Dave Kenny, coming in, calling
Thanks
all
for
over
having
New
me,
York City at a comic book store that he broke into just to talk about. So thank you, Dave.
Definitely not a Zoom background.
Oh man, you
I
were
hear police sirens.
I appreciate it.
I got a comic book manager taped up.
He's gone full Slim Shady just to record. I really appreciate it. Guys, I've been Eric De Silva. This has been Jose Romero. That's Dave Kenny. We have been Nerdslpaining. And if you don't know, now you know. Boom.